Hello, and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. Hey, Heather, how's it going?
It's going good, John. John, that's a perfect example of when you change one little thing, it messes up our brain, right? So I love that this is live. We just move forward with it. And even if the opening is different than what we're used to, we just move forward.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, well, that's the beauty of going live, right? There's no second chances. Like this is what comes out. Like there's nothing that's pre-rehearsed. There's, one of the things, when I'm talking to people about them launching their own podcast, the one thing they always talk about is, the thing I get concerned with is the retakes and doing it over and over and over and over. And at some point, they don't even launch their podcast because they've gone through so many iterations, they just give up, right? I'm like, just go live, right? Because then you'll have to figure it out as you go along. And this is what I love about doing our lives, right? Like we play around with it. We have fun, right? Like at the end of the day, we're having fun with it. And we just go with it, right? And if there's a mistake, mistakes happen. You know what? In life, if you told me that you were perfect, I would think you're a pretty boring person. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
We want imperfections, right? Like imperfections just make life fun. So
100%. And let's go down this path because there's so many life lessons in, is it ever good enough? And when you do videos or when you're in media and there's a lot of editing that happens, I'll tell you, if you watch it a million times, you'll find a million mistakes because there's always something that you're going to see. And of course we have a different lens when we're watching ourselves. A lot of people say, oh, I would never record myself. I can't watch myself. It's too hard because they're too critical on themselves. But when we're live, again, our audience is out there listening to us. And if you're out there, comment and say hi to us. But we just have to let it go. So the practice of letting go is a perfect, practice on a live kind of show. And that is so huge because we're practicing, John, we do this 3 times a week. We do other live events as well, but we're practicing. We talk about this in our Confident Communicator course. We talk about this with our clients, how important it is to practice and find all kinds of places to practice. So I love it. And I love it also that we have decided that we're always leveling up. So, every 10 episodes, we change one little thing. Sometimes our audience loves it. Sometimes our audience gives us feedback. No matter what, we try something different and we're always trying to level up.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you're talking about that because I actually did a video for TikTok on, what was the last time you changed something to get better? Right. And, the one thing I've been trying to do, and actually now that I'm back in the pool and doing my swims, getting ready for my next big event for next year, I've been changing my technique, right? Like in the pool and just how I swim. And can I tell you, it's made me slower, right? Like it's uncomfortable because it's a different way of swimming. And I think about the great, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods in the middle of his career changed his swing. And, while he was changing his swing, he got worse, like the best player in the world. Like I got something that's great. Why would I change it? But he wanted to get even better. And, one of the things that he did, he changed his swing, and it took a while for his body to adjust to it because all the mechanics of his previous swing was automatic. Like he didn't have to think about it anymore. And that's where he was trying to take his new swing. And, he got worse before he got better, but when he got better, he got much better. And he took it to a whole new level. And I think about us, right? Like as we're building this podcast, there's going to be mistakes that we're going to make. And that's okay, because especially as we're changing things up, right? There's going to be things that are going to push us out of our comfort zone. There's going to be things that we haven't done before that we're going to try for the first time. And I think it's so important, even when it's perfect, to tweak it, to change it, and at some point get uncomfortable with it so you can get even better. Right? That's why I think making those adjustments. And Jason, thank you for jumping on with us. And I'll use my friend Jason as an example. He's on Twitch. He's launched his he's got his own channel. He's got I believe it's the lunchtime corporate lunch, which is where he plays some tracks to just get people through their day and through their week. And he's like when I think about a hockey stick in terms of where he's gone with his show, the corporate lunch break, that's it. And it's taken off, right? The audience has grown, and he's been making those slight adjustments as he's been going along. And those adjustments is what gets us to a whole new level, right? Because you got to be uncomfortable if you're going to make that switch and that pivot, right?
Well, I think that's one of the mistakes that people make, especially when they go all in on a goal. They try to change everything at once. And what happens is you don't know what is actually getting you the results. So, especially, let's just use diet or exercise. And we're coming up to that January timeframe where everyone's like, oh, I'm going to get back to the gym. I'm going to make my New Year's resolution. And the gym gets super busy for like 25 days. And then it's not busy anymore. And of course, that's because your brain is going to have all those automatic negative thoughts, those ants in your head, go in there and say all the things that are not true, why you're not good enough. But anyways, I get off track. What is important is that you make one small change and then see how that impacts and changes your life. So, I'll tell my clients, do a 2-minute meditation or a 30-second breathing exercise every single day for 7 days. And then we'll add on something else. And it's adding one more small thing so that it's like, oh, I can do this. And in such small increments that how could you not do a 30-second thing? I just started a new lesson, John. I'm doing Spanish lessons on Duolingo, and every day I get a reminder, hey, it only takes 3 minutes to do your next lesson. And every day I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do my 3 minutes. And those reminders are necessary because it's not a habit that I have to do this as a regular thing. And like last night before I went to bed, okay, I got to do my Spanish. So, this is, and you're laughing at me because
No, I love it.
I was
I'm
learning
ready
Spanish.
to use the Spanish word of the day. That's what I'm.
Manzana.
Hola, señorita. ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, look at you.
Oh, sí, yo hablo un poquito español.
Okay, I'll when I have more than a few words, I'll practice some sentences on you. But listen, this is a new thing that I decided that I would start to learn, and it's 3 minutes a day that I've committed to. So it's not this overwhelming. Let me go to a Spanish class. Maybe that might be something in the future when I have some more foundation. But right now, it's 3 minutes a day. So what is that one thing that you can do that's just you're going to commit to try it or do it every single day for 7 days and then see how that does. And here's some ideas: breathing exercise, a 2-minute meditation, do 10 squats every 3 hours. Just put a timer on your phone. Do some push-ups. So these things are really, really small incremental changes. Not let's go to the gym, change my diet, and do everything at once, because you won't know what's making the change, and then you won't stick with anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you. And muy bien, muy bien. Hola,
oh my goodness, I have all my Spanish teachers coming out of the woodwork. I love this, Felicia.
Buenos dias, Felicia. Yeah, it's listen. Sorry, just just jump in here I took Spanish classes in college for 2 years, right? So that's why I learned a little bit. And the one line I learned very well was lo siento, which is I'm sorry, right? So I don't know, like, how do you even remember that stuff?
Okay, here's a perfect example of always share your goals out loud. Always, always, always share them, because I hadn't even shared this with John and shared with anyone. The only one that knows is Patrick, my husband, because he hears me taking the courses and he's having a good giggle when I'm speaking Spanish. But this is a perfect example, because look at all of the help that's out there already coming my way for one goal. So, when you have a goal, don't keep it to yourself. Tell as many people as possible, because you have no idea who also wants to do that goal, has already achieved that goal, or can actually help you practice that goal.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I forgot what you asked me. Tell you the truth, I think I had a thought. I don't know where it's going, but it was going somewhere. But going back, and you talk about making these small incremental changes. That's where we were. Okay, good. I'm back on track. Making those small incremental changes. What I love about those is they're small incremental changes, right? Like I even look at my watch, right? Like my watch tells me to stand up for a minute, every hour, right? Like there's things that are around us technology wise that we can leverage to do this, right? But what I love about the small changes is you don't even notice that they're happening, because you'll notice them at the beginning because there's a shift, right?
Yeah.
And what we're going to be covering in our workshop tomorrow is we're going to talk about what creates those beliefs that, stop us from doing certain things, right? Because they've been ingrained in us, right? And anytime we try to break an old belief and create a new one, like, that's really uncomfortable, and it takes effort, it takes time. And what I love that you talked about, for the first 7 days, if you just do it, you'll start to create that new habit, that new belief that, hey, breathing for 2 minutes really isn't that bad, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I'll hear from people is, who's got time for that? I'm like, it's 2 minutes. Like, how do you not have 2 minutes? You spend more time in a Timmy's or coffee lineup, right? Depending on where you go. You spend more time in line. And I talked about this on previous podcasts. The one thing, when I went in 2016, when I went through that journey of putting 365 speeches together, even when I was in line waiting for coffee, I would listen to conversations around me, and that would be content for me, right? Like, I
Mm.
would take that time to do like research. What are people talking about? What's impacting them? What's affecting them? And I would just listen, right? Like, I would take that up, and then, if it was like nobody was chatting online, and sometimes that would happen, I would just like jot down some notes in terms of what I wanted to talk about. How do I put content together? How do I create a lesson? How do I put some uh, pieces together to create a speech? And that was just, finding, it's called finding pockets of time. There's a term for it, but there's, within the pockets of your time, you can do so much, right? And
Mm.
that 2 minute breathing exercise is, okay, I'm in line, I'm waiting for coffee.
Well, and it's that time that everyone's
Yeah.
going to have lots of lineups that they're standing in these days, especially if you're out to the mall, out shopping, waiting for the gas, going to Costco, any of those things. These are the times to activate these moments, and just breathe, just take a
Yeah.
moment. But I love that you found content all around you. And I hear this a lot of times when people, as we're coaching people to do speaking engagements, they're like, I don't have anything interesting to talk about.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would talk about. And always when that comes my way, I know that that person is speaking from their ego. And
Mhm.
I don't want to say that from a bad place. I want to say that from it's just as it is. And what happens is our ego says things like, we're not good enough, or who's going to listen to you, as opposed to just being present with, well, if this is important to me, or I learned this once before, I bet you there's someone that looks and sounds just like me that also would like to hear this message. So I often just go back to my own self and the things that I've learned and think, if I learned this and wanted to know this, or what would I have liked to hear 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
Mhm.
And that if I would have known it faster or heard these messages more often, would I have been a bigger or better person? Well, no, I wouldn't have been either one of those things. The bad language. John, we're off today. Our
We're
language is
off. I'm like,
off.
what's going on? Like,
But I caught it. I caught it, and the awareness is there. So, would I have been a more advanced person? Would I have thought
Mhm.
differently? Would it have impacted my thoughts because I would have let other things come into my conscious? And would I have different emotions about it? And the answer is yes. Yes, I want
Yeah.
to impact someone that looks and sounds just like me, and that doesn't feel overwhelming at all. But our
Yeah.
goal, John, for the year is to impact 1 million people. Now, when we made that goal, it was like, whoa, that scares the crap out of me. How are we going to do that? And then we know the lesson. We let go of the how, and we let the universe find its way. All we have to do is take action, take consistent actions all the
Yeah.
time. And this is what we're going to talk about in our workshop tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up yet, please make sure that you sign up for our workshop tomorrow. It's at 1:00, and we are going to talk about how to smash your goals for 2024.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Smash your goals for 2024. Listen, we're taking it to a new level. And listen, this is stuff, when we talk about the strategy, this is a strategy that we used this year ourselves, right? And, we got things in the works that we can't even tell you about, but they're big, right? Like, they're coming down. It's been crazy where we've been able to take our lives in just 12 months, right? When I think about, what we've been able to accomplish, what we've been able to do, like, I did an Ironman like at midpoint in the year, and I'm like, how did that even happen, right? And And this is what we're going to be sharing through this, through our event tomorrow. Yes, Felicia, yes, you're signed up, and we're so happy to have you there. For those that are also listening in, I am going to take and find the link. I'm going to share it with you. I'll put it in the comments after the show. But we would love to have you there, because we are, Heather and I, we've been going through it. And can I tell you one thing? Like, we've gone through iterations of it. It's like, oh, what can we do to make this better? What can we do that like up level this? What can we do? As we've been going throughout the year, there's things that we've learned as well. And that's what we're all incorporating into this workshop. It's, when I think of it, and and I'm not saying this from a place of ego, but when I looked at it and through Heather, we were doing our couple of, we always do run throughs, right? And I'm like, wow, like this is good. Like this is, I know you're laughing when I'm like, but I'm saying that from a place that's genuine and sincere. It's like, wow, like this is, we did a similar workshop last year, but this is even better, right? That was like, wow, like really? Like, yeah, and this is what I'm incredibly excited to be able to share with all of you, right?
Yeah. And whatever we teach, guys, we're just sharing what we do. We want everyone to be successful with us. We want to build that community around us of people that are elevating each other. And that's why we do these workshops. It's so important to us. So believe me, we do this exercise. So me and John, we've been practicing for the last 2 weeks, getting the content together, and we have been going through the process as well. And part of that process is expressing gratitude. So, we did have this moment yesterday together where we're like, wow, look at what we've accomplished. Look at what 2023 has done. And if this is our foundation for what 2024 is going to be, I am super excited and like just can't, I'm bursting with energy. So it's but you know what, John, I don't have my word for 2024 yet. It's I'm non-committal still, and that, so I can't wait to do the workshop so that I can actually get that word downloaded in my head and see how it shows up for the whole year.
Yeah, no, listen, I know my word for 2023 was abundance. Yours was strength. Felicia, just remind us again, what was your word for 2023? Just drop it in the chat. I've included the link. It's, for some reason, it's not showing up on LinkedIn, but it is showing up on Facebook if you are listening through Facebook or through YouTube or even Twitch. So you can sign up there.
I think you can do the link on LinkedIn after. Yeah,
I'll do it afterwards, but I just wanted to share that with everybody real quick. The link is there just to register. But yeah, as I think about the word for 2024, courage. That's right. Thank you, Felicia, for sharing your word with us. That is an anchor, right? Like when you are looking at your year, your word is what's going to take you through. Think about this, Felicia. Like, if you look at the past year, if you look at past years in general, have you ever had a word that kind of symbolized your year? And, for Heather and I, and for those that have created that word, and I have a list of people that have given us their words, having that word, it becomes that guiding light, that, the lighthouse, that beacon that kind of shows you where you're going. And that's what I love about setting one word. That's it. Just one word that becomes your guiding, your light.
One word.
You want to go for 2024.
And let go of the how and see what shows up. And I mean, we know just a little bit about Felicia's courage journey, but she's done some things that she's never done before. Exactly. Yeah. So, that's just a small snippet of how courage showed up. And that's the other beauty, is that when you let go of the how, you pick that one word, the universe will guide you in a way to let that show up in massive different ways. So, for me, I chose strength, and strength was going to be in my body, but strength actually came in my learning, in my development, in my brain power, in my resilience. It came in so many other ways in addition to strength in my body. So, which came first, strength in my body, strength in my mind? I don't care. It came. So, and it was my focus for the whole year. So and this is why I think I'm not ready to let strength go. So maybe there's a process, John, we can to put one word to bed and open up another one, but the chapter isn't closed for me yet. I still want strength. And I think that's what I'm having anxiety about.
Maybe it's strength 2.0, right? Like maybe there's a different version, a different iteration of strength, right? Like you can, when I think about, even going back and actually this is something I learned from you years ago. You gave me the book, You Are Badass by Jen Sincero. I read the book 4 or 5 times in a row. Like I would read it and then read it again. And what I realized every time I went through the book, I was a different person. Right. So your strength reminds me of that. Maybe there's just a different version of Heather that's looking at the word strength.
Ooh, I can't wait to meet her.
Yeah. She's already out there. Yeah, maybe that's it, right? Like I think you touched on something that's so key there. I can't wait to meet her. You know, and this is what our goals workshop is all about. It's meeting that new version of you in 2024 that's really going to blow you away. And when you get to the end of the year, you're going to say, wow, actually, not even the end of the year. We're saying you can do this in the first 90 days of the year.
Yeah, massive shifts in 90 days.
Yeah, massive shifts. So the link is there. I'll drop in LinkedIn, but we'd love to see you tomorrow. If you know, and here's our request. You know, our mission is to get out there and impact 1 million people. If you could share this with your communities, if you could share this with people around you that really want to take their life and elevate it to the next level, please share with them. I'd love to have them on the call with us as well. Okay. Can't believe we're already here. Heather, what's your call to action?
Start thinking about your word. As we were speaking, as you're listening, some words started to download into your head. Write them down, try them on for a couple days, see if that will be your theme for the year. And we'll see you tomorrow. Sign up for our workshop.
Sign up for the workshop. All right, that is it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. Remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. See you tomorrow on the call. Take care, everybody.